ASEAN Dailies. First and the foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Hello, welcome to Duran ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing.
So do you know right now there's a huge palm oil war happening?
Oh, really?
Yep.
What's that all about?
So remember the recent French bill proposal to have a progressive tax on palm oil? Both Malaysia and Indonesia, they're joining hands to fight back the smear campaign on palm oil in Europe.
But what are the implications of the palm oil tax, by the way?
Well, the domestic tax on palm oil may jump as high as, guess what, 800% by 2020, which means, of course, lesser demand for palm oil in the future.
And Malaysian government say that it will threaten the livelihood of millions of Southeast Asians who work in the palm oil industry.
That's very true. And right now, Indonesia and Malaysia are working together to try and convince the French government that it's not wise to do so, although we are not sure how they're going to do.
But you know, the thing is, it would be really hard as there's a strong call in Europe that the palm oil industry in Malaysia and Indonesia is unsustainable and led to deforestation.
With the current environmental climate, ASEAN may need to rethink its economic reliance on palm oil. On ASEAN Daily, we'll bring you daily updates and commentaries on issues and events that are impacting this region. I'm your host, Grace Cho.
And this is Arlene Tan, and today on Wednesday, 2nd March 2016, we will bring you the latest politics and current affairs news from Southeast Asia.
Our top story today, China ASEAN agreed to examine Singapore proposal on South China Sea. So finally, Singapore is championing itself as the peace deal maker, and it is rightly doing so.
And both have agreed to explore Singapore's proposal of an expanded Code of Unplanned Encounters at Sea, or short for QUES, that includes Coast Guard ships to help prevent untowed clashes in the sea.
Well, the focus there now is to introduce the code quick enough to make the sea safer and build confidence, while China and ASEAN speed up the talks for Code of Conduct or COC in the South China Sea. It is a temporary measure to de-escalate the tension.
According to Singapore Foreign Minister Vivian Balakrishnan, the proposal was made as part of Singapore's role as country coordinator for China-ASEAN relations. It will be for the next 3-year term, started from last August.
At the same time, he added, we're in the situation of not being a clement state, which is good because it allows us to play a neutral role as we don't make any claims. So here our objectives is to promote peace and stability, focus on peaceful resolution of differences or conflicts, and to be an honest broker.
He met with China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi and discussed exploratory ideas of a QUES. Yesterday, he revealed the scope of the proposed QUES that builds on a code signed in 2014 by 21 members of the Western Pacific Naval Symposium that covers naval vessels and aircraft.
And also there have been growing calls for QUES in South China Sea. Fears of conflict have risen amid China's construction of military facilities and deployment of missile systems on the South China Sea.
According to Dr. Balakrishnan, it is important to get buy-in and commitment from ASEAN as well as China on Singapore's proposal before considering the inclusion of civilian ships.
On the other hand, China has been closing up its relations with other Southeast Asian nations. But just recently, China's President Xi Jinping told a visiting envoy from Hanoi that China and Vietnam share a common destiny.
And China is working at repairing ties damaged by competing claims in the disputed South China Sea. Well, this started from a hit in 2014 when Beijing parked an oil rig off the Vietnamese coast, which caused riots. Since then, they have exchanged high-level visits.
Well, from there, let's move on to the next news. From the South China Sea updates, we move on to the never-ending story, which is about one MDB corruption scandal. So apparently, just recently, the Wall Street Journal claims that Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak's account deposits are said to be top $1 billion.
Wow. And this is dollars. So if you convert it to ringgit,
Oh dear.
it's actually hundreds of millions more than the previously identified. And global investigators believe much of it originated with 1MDB.
So this contradicts the conclusion reached recently by Malaysia's Attorney General Muhammad Apandi Ali that small sum of $681 million was simply a legal, generous donation by a Saudi royal family.
Investigators in 2 other countries, while agreeing that most of the $681 million US dollar ultimately was returned by the Prime Minister, but they also believe that the money originated with 1MDB and moved through a complex web of transactions in several countries. The investigators believe it was made possible with the help of 2 former officials of Abu Dhabi, a Persian Gulf emirate with which 1MDB has links.
That's right. The investigators are focusing on an entity they believe is an important clue, a firm with a name almost identical to that of the state-owned Abu Dhabi company. It's called Aba Investment, PJS.
In filings, the 1MDB fund has reported paying more than $1 billion to Abar, not specifying a full name though. Rather than going to the state-owned Abu Dhabi company, investigators believe that the money flowed to the similarly named firm which was registered in the British Virgin Islands, and $681 million US dollar made its way circuitously from there to Mr. Najib's account.
Well, Mr. Najib unveiled the 1MDB during 2009 visit to Abu Dhabi. So Akbar Investment PJS, the state company there, later pledged to help 1MDB acquire a power plant and build a finance center in the capital city of Malaysia.
Little of that investment came, in fact. According to financial statements of Abar parent company, International Petroleum Investment Corporation, or IPIC, which is an Abu Dhabi sovereign wealth fund, though IPIC guaranteed billions of dollars of 1MDB bonds.
Wow. In spite of the oldest investigation report, PM Najib Razak denounced that Wall Street Journal report saying the newspaper had become a willing vehicle for those plotting to oust him.
Not just that, according to the Prime Minister's statement, the Wall Street Journal keep repeating the same all allegations without providing evidence.
Right.
And they also claim that they keep relying solely on anonymous sources that might not even exist, and they keep choosing to omit key known facts.
Well, I don't know what to say after all these comments. Well, the next news is about Cambodian migrants in Thailand. So almost about 70,000 Cambodian migrants workers were deported from Thailand through the Phom Pit international checkpoint in the Bangti, Minche province last year.
Not an easy name to
Again, it's coming from Thailand.
Anyway, of the 67,000 migrant workers deported, more than 30% of them were women.
Right, and also Cambodians who crossed the border for illegal logging often they did it so through illegal corridors, and they risked being shot by Thai border police.
There were also a sizable number of Cambodian children that crosses the border to Thailand, and interviews with children of deported migrants found that most accompanied their parents to work in Thailand. And in fact, they have been working in construction sites and also in plantation harvesting cassava.
Right. So the report compiled by Cambodian Embassy in Thailand and Thai authorities found that there is an increase of 65% of Cambodian migrant death from 2014. The major causes of this death were accidents at work, traffic accidents, and even diseases.
It's never easy being a Cambodian migrant to Thailand. And according to Moin Tola, Executive Director of the newly formed Center for Alliance of Labour and Human Rights, said that Cambodians migrate to Thailand because they cannot find work at home and cannot survive on the very low wages being paid.
Well, at the same time, the government also failed to address the dire issue on wages and employment.
And the government also need to revamp the process of issuing documents to migrant workers to ensure more of them are able to go to Thailand legally, because there are just too many red tapes.
Yes, I can imagine. So thus more than 450,000 Cambodians were living and working illegally in Thailand.
That's all from our ASEAN Daily today. Thanks for tuning in to Durian ASEAN with me, Arlene Tan
and Grace Cho. For more updates on Southeast Asia, please go to our website at durianasean.com. But if you're on the go, you can always download our TuneIn app on your mobile.
Please subscribe to our YouTube channels at Durian ASEAN and Durian ASEAN TV. Don't forget to follow us on our Facebook page, Twitter and Instagram. We always welcome feedback from our listeners.
Stay tuned with ASEAN Daily, Monday to Friday, the same time at 12 to 1 p.m. on GMT Plus 8. Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing.
You're now listening to Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing.